Hey everyone, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. I had a long conversation with someone talking about this idea of moving before retirement and some of the consequences, the pros and cons of going into that. And please note, I guess I have to say this, I'm not a financial advisor and we're not going to talk money at all on this. Um, but it was a long-winded conversation, and I don't have many of those with people who are looking to move to other countries or people that are fellow people that have been immigrants in countries that we're talking to that we used to live next to or with, got to know. And the whole idea of what's your take on that? Are you someone that you are feeling, well, like, we can't wait until we have to wait until we hit this magic age and then we can go? Or do you have a financial number in mind where it isn't necessarily your age, but it's, well, when we think we have X amount in a pension or retirement or assets, let's say, then that's the number. It's not so much focused on our physical age, it's focused on that financial number, and then that's when we're going to start. But it's specific to moving somewhere else and moving outside your own country. I made a video recently about, go strike while the iron's hot, because at some point all of our health, even though that's a word, our health is going to deteriorate at some point in our life. Hopefully not now, but in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Many of you watching are closer or in the retirement years, that things are going to happen. And maybe things are already happening health-wise. So people are reconsidering, I think, a move abroad and trying to figure out how can they do that before they officially retire. Can they string along and do they have enough money, let's say in a savings account or something? Can they sell something that will help give them enough money to move abroad? And maybe they're there 2 or 3 or 4 years before they officially retire, collect your pension or their Social Security, whatever it is. And it was an interesting philosophical question, because a gentleman, he's a little older, so he's 61. His wife is, I think, 54, 55. They moved to Spain in 2015, so a while ago, 11 years ago. And they're still in the workforce, but they were running the numbers in their head going, okay, do we need to get jobs overseas? Or if we move overseas, based upon the cost of living, they were living in the United States and in New York, so high cost of living. So pretty much anywhere they could move to outside of maybe Switzerland was going to be cheaper for them, more affordable. So they were looking at, they were actually moved to Bilbao, Spain. And they were able to move and without officially retiring, but they had enough money saved up in their savings account. They sold their home. I think they had another property that they sold. So that they've been just living off of that. And then next year he will claim retirement at 62, and she's still got some time to go. But they were looking at it not where, well, we're going to wait until I'm the oldest, 62, and then we'll start make a move. They wanted to move as soon as they financially could do that. And I bring that up because in both cases they've had some health issues. And those things have gone on for the last few years. And to the point where if they had waited until he was 62 to move, which will be next year, later this year, they probably wouldn't have moved based upon what they have going on. So they were grateful that they made that move when they did and said, we're going to do it and figure it out and not worry about waiting until retirement to move, because they weren't sure that, what's their health going to be like in retirement, and their health has changed. So it's a question I want to ask you all. it is sort of the whole, it is going back to the, do you go now or do you wait until you have this perfect time or a certain age or a certain number in your a certain amount of money before you go. But it is fascinating to me of, do you just say screw it and try to do it, and work it out? And if you're committed to going someplace and you want to get out of the country you live in, or you don't like where things are headed and whatnot, I think it's worth really trying to evaluate, how do you get there as soon as you can, and maybe not waiting for retirement and getting there even 6 months before you're filing for retirement, or a year or two. And that could make a big difference just in your quality of life and what you're able to do health wise. Because again, like I said, at some point things are going to start, falling apart on all of us. And so I want to think that it's a good question to ask yourself as you're considering. And I've talked to many people that when we were living overseas in Portugal that, well, 2027 is our plan because that's our retirement date, or 2030. And so many people, almost everybody that I spoke with when I was consulting there, I think almost everybody, it was the retirement. Everything focused around 62 or 67 before they could make a move, or they felt like they could, when they really didn't do research or analysis to see, could they move at 60? Could they move at 63? Could they move at 58? And I just, it's kind of a public service announcement to me to just say, if you haven't thought about that, start putting it together and start penciling it out. Can you get to your dream destination, or whatever that country is, sooner than what your retirement age is going to kick in? Because my hope is you can, and if you do, you're going to have more quality years of living in that destination than having to wait until you're retired. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox. That's my rant. I hope, again, if you decide to move someplace, figure out how to do it, and provided the immigration isn't going to break you, go to that country and get there and start living your life in that country and enjoying the heck out of it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels.